Friends, I greet you all. It's November 14th, 2023. The weather today is crazy. She just makes everyone happy today. It's sunny and clear. We are located in the north of Montenegro, in the city of Zabljak. This city is very small. Approximately 1900 people. That is, it is quite small. And I just want to show you how life works in this city. Is it interesting here in the Montenegrin province? In any case, we have marvelous and fascinating famous sites nearby, the Djurdjevic Bridge and the Durmitor National Park. Therefore, I suggest you take a walk along these streets and see how the locals live here. Let us take a walk. Why am I recording this episode about such a small town? I think it would be interesting to show how a country that is not part of the European Union is developing and using the tourism infrastructure to the maximum. But this is a very small country with 600,000 people. So pay attention to the streets, infrastructure, cleanliness. This is an amazing place. Go for a walk. This issue is about the city of Zabljak in the northeast of Montenegro in the mountainous region of the Balkans and the nature around it. It's really interesting here, even though we were just passing through. Not only are about 2,000 people permanently living in the city, there are also two interesting locations, as I said earlier, the Durmitor Massif in the national park attached to it, as well as the famous Djurdjevic Bridge, an arched bridge over the Tara River in the north parts of Montenegro. You can pay attention to what this area looks like, what kind of streets, houses, hotel complexes there are and the general state of the infrastructure, sidewalks, lawns, cleanliness. I think it will be useful for comparison with any other city of 2,000 or 5,000 people. Krasnaya Polyana in Russia in the Caucasus or Chamontet Mont Blanc in the Alps in France have a population of 10,000 people each, which is significantly larger than the modest provincial location here. Yes, there is a ski slope here, but we already know a large number of cities in Europe, Russia, and the Caucasus, where special infrastructure is being created at large ski resorts. It seemed that small towns in Montenegro would be boring. After all, the entire population of Montenegro is just over 600,000 people. Nevertheless, the streets of this city struck me with their neatness, interesting architecture and cleanliness. And the most important thing is the weather. In mid-November there are indeed still very beautiful sunny days here, even considering the fact that we are in the city at an altitude of almost 1,500 meters from sea level. Well, let us talk briefly about the terrain and views that are hidden in the very heart of Montenegro. While we go to the ATM in the city to withdraw euros, I propose to briefly go over the history of this place. It is worth saying that the first Slavic name for this place was Verrazina Voda, possibly due to the presence of a powerful source of drinking water nearby, which made the settlement possible. But we also keep in mind that this territory was actively populated by the southern Slavs in the 7th century. It was a real large Slavic colonization, which in the future turned into a colony of the Ottoman Empire in the 15th century. The modern name of the city dates back to 1870. However, almost all of the original buildings were destroyed during the disastrous Balkan Wars, which took place from 1912 to 1913 shortly before the First World War, which resulted in the countries of the Balkan Peninsula pushing the Turks out of European territory, bringing down the strong Muslim presence in these territories. All that remains from that time is the old Church of the Holy Transfiguration, built in 1862 as a monument to Montenegro's victory in the battle against the Ottoman Empire. Thus, in the 1880s, Zabljak became a trading city, which led to its transformation into the administrative center of the region. During the Ottoman Empire, back in 1582, there were 28 Christian houses and 36 Muslim houses in the city, which leads to the conclusion that Islam was actively developed here by the Ottoman Turks. In the period shortly before World War II, Zabljak was a small town with typical mountain architecture. Its unique nature has already attracted the attention of tourists from the Kingdom of Yugoslavia, as well as from abroad, especially from neighboring Italy. This is happening now. The region is very often visited by Italians, all because of the close ties between Montenegro and Italy as neighboring states. After all, Italy, even before the Ottomans, had a serious influence on the current territory of Montenegro. During World War II, Zabljak was burned to the ground. Today the city is the center of mountain tourism in Montenegro, something like Krasnaya Polyana for Russians. The entire territory of the Durmitor mountain range is protected as a national park and provides good opportunities for summer and winter mountain tourism. This is a truly fantastic place, which I will briefly show you at the end of the episode. Meanwhile, we drove a little away from the city. The Tara River is located here. In the middle reaches, Tara forms the largest canyon in Europe. Its length is 82 kilometers, depth, up to 1,300 meters. The canyon is listed as a World Heritage Site UNESCO as part of a national park Durmitor. There is active rafting on the river here. But today we are not interested in rafting, since it is mid-November and it is cool, but in the view of the canyon itself and the Djurdjevic Bridge. Let us go to the observation deck and look at this legendary bridge. It was built between 1937 and 1940 in the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. The chief engineer of the project is Isaac Russo. The five-arch bridge has a length of 365 meters. The length of the largest span is 116 meters. The height of the roadway of the bridge above the river level is 172 meters. At the time of completion, it was the largest vehicular concrete arch bridge in Europe. Much of Montenegro, including the Tara River Canyon, fell under Italian occupation after the German invasion of Yugoslavia in April 1941. The mountainous terrain of the area facilitated successful guerrilla warfare. Italian forces used the Chetniks to gain control of the bridge during a joint offensive in 1942. In 1942, Yugoslav partisans, with the help of one of the bridge construction engineers, Lazar Djurdjevic, blew up the outer arch, but preserved the remaining spans. The explosion of the longest span destroyed the only crossing of the Tara River Canyon in the area, which led to a halt in the advance of Italian troops into this part of Montenegro. Lazar Djurdjevic was captured by the Nazis and shot. A monument to the engineer stands at the entrance to the bridge. These events were depicted in a 1969 Yugoslav film called The Bridge and in the British film Hurricane of Navarone, aka Squad of 10 of Navarone.
Вон там, видишь, внизу будки. На поляне по-любому палатки люди разбивают.
The bridge was restored in 1946. For everyone, there is a campsite with a parking lot, a shop, a hostel and a gas station on the Djurdjevic Bridge. From the Djurdjevic Bridge you can go rafting. There are 3 zip lines on the bridge. They say they are very cool. We didn't try, they were closed. I forgot to mention that this bridge also plays a big role in Djurdjevic's Dutch novel, The Country Behind God, which was published in 1956. This novel is based on the true story of the bridge, including its destruction by partisans during World War II. Currently, the Djurdjevic Bridge is a must-see. The rare tourist who decides to travel deep into the country bypasses it. And this interest can be understood. From the bridge there are beautiful views of the Tara River Canyon. This is where some of the most mesmerizing photographs are taken. In addition, the most courageous can tickle their nerves with bungee jumping. In other words, bungee jumping, jumps are carried out from the highest arch of the bridge. The projected cost of building the bridge was a large 11.5 million dinars at the time of construction, but by the end of the work the cost had been increased by another million dinars. The total amounted to almost 13 million dinars. Work on the bridge began in 1937, and they were completed in the fall of 1940, as I said earlier. The Tara River Canyon is the deepest canyon in Europe and the second deepest canyon in the world, after the Grand Canyon in the USA. Of course, I would like to do rafting. The river here is stormy, but not in November. Due to the heat in summer, the river dries out significantly, becomes shallow, and the stormy river turns into a calm stream. For rafting, you should come here in May to June. The canyon has become legendary. It is among the top and takes an honorable second place after the American Grand Canyon. This is truly a unique place where tourists, having visited once, return. Visitors are attracted by the majestic mountain peaks, ridges, river flows, and the coolness of mountain parks. The Tara River in Montenegro has 24 rapids on a rafting route 18 kilometers long. One rafting is enough. Thrills and vivid impressions are guaranteed for several years to come. Excursions include exploring nearby attractions. Tourists heading to the canyons from the coast will almost certainly pass through Lake Skadarsko and stop in Podgorica, the capital of the country. Along the way it is easy to find religious sites and shrines. The list of the most famous objects includes the Moraca Monastery. The monastery is considered a place of prayer. The surrounding area has a special atmosphere that stays with the traveler for some time after visiting. Well, we returned back to Zabljak and drove right through it, ending up in Durmitor. This is a huge eco-reserve of incredible beauty, a unique landscape monument, the significance of which goes far beyond the borders of Montenegro. The untouched nature of the mighty mountains, coniferous forests, mountain lakes, and the canyon of the Tara River remain an unforgettable memory for everyone who has visited these protected areas. The park was allocated as a separate territory in 1952, and since 1980 Durmitor has become part of the World Heritage Site, being included in the UNESCO list. The reserve is located in the southern part of Montenegro and covers an area of about 34,000 hectares. The park is located in a mountainous area. The highest peak is Mount Bobotov Kuk, height 2,523 meters above sea level. In the park there are springs and perfectly round glacial lakes filled with the purest water. The reserve preserves pine, spruce and broad-leaved forests, alpine and subalpine meadows, and many relict plants, many of which are endemic to these places. Nature connoisseurs come here to see the extraordinary flora and fauna of the Durmitor Nature Reserve. Red fox, brown bear, wolf, mountain goat, marten, chamois, hares, European otter, in total more than 300 species of animals, many of which are on the verge of extinction in the world and protected by the Red Book. More than 170 species of birds, 150 different species of butterflies, more than 1,000 species of plants, and this is according to the most rough estimates. The bank of the Tara River Canyon is famous for its unique virgin black pine forests. There are only a few such forests left in the world. The local black pine is a 45-meter beauties that are about 400 years old. One of the most interesting places in Durmitor and the largest of its lakes is the glacial Black Lake. Geographically, the lake is located several kilometers from Zabljak. In winter, the lake is fuller, and with the onset of summer, some parts of it dry up, they become isthmuses. In fact, there are two lakes, Big and Small Black Lake. When viewed from above, they resemble two huge eyes. Mountain eyes. That's what people call this place. In addition to the incredible beauty that makes it worth coming here, The lake has a lot of interesting activities that you can devote the whole day to. Adults will be able to experience the full power of adrenaline by riding a bungee stretched right above the lake. In the summer they swim here. Clean high mountain freshwater is always a special pleasure. You can admire the surrounding landscape from the water by renting a boat, go fishing, or collect medicinal herbs in these environmentally friendly places. History and adventure lovers head along the lake in search of Tito's cave. This place once served the Yugoslav partisans. There was a headquarters here. Near the lake there are pleasant, landscaped places to relax with gazebos, benches and even a restaurant serving national cuisine. There are various walking trails throughout the park, mountain, forest and even meadow. Here you can pick berries, for example. During the season you can find a lot of strawberries, blackberries, blueberries. If you are not a big fan of walking, you can rent a bicycle in the reserve. Rental points operate in Zabljak and near Black Lake. You can also arrange a great horse ride through protected fields. And of course, climbers have not been ignored here. In the reserve you will always find how to spend your time interestingly and usefully.
Yes.
With this we will say goodbye to you. Be sure to rate this video, recommend it to your friends and forward it to each other. This will help the video rank better in YouTube search. Well, as always, leave your comments under the video. Be sure to write whether or not you liked this intimate city of Zabljak, the areas in which we walked in general. Don't forget to watch videos from Turkey, Georgia, Belarus, United Arab Emirates, Serbia on our channel. Go to the channel and support by watching. And we will definitely see you in new episodes on the channel soon. Be sure to subscribe and give your ratings. See you in new episodes soon.
Вижу, вижу.